Good morning, family. Welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2009, and today we're reading Joshua chapter 18. And firstly, as always, I encourage you to read it for yourself. See what you get from it. Email us, and we'll put it on the blog. But we see here in this chapter that they're actually going to be dividing the land up. But Joshua shows us a good example of leadership. Now, as I was reading, I was thinking, there's different ways that you can actually lead people, and you have to kind of determine what would be the most effective for the people that you're leading, because certain ways will not be effective for certain people, and another way might be a little bit more effective. So Joshua shows us an example of how he's leading people, which I particularly like, because he shows them by example first. He goes with them to conquer these different lands, and then he basically wants them to go and do stuff for themselves. So that he shows them, and then they're supposed to actually follow after him, knowing that it can be done already. And we actually even kind of pulling some from yesterday's lesson too. We see here at the beginning of this chapter, he says, the land was subdued before them. They built the tabernacle, and it says the land was subdued before them. And he says, how long are you going to be procrastinating? How long are you going to be slack in possessing the land that's already been given to you? It's kind of like, as I'm thinking about it, they didn't have to fight for it anymore. They already won this particular land, these pieces of land, because what he does at this point is then he takes 3 men from each of the tribes and sends them out to really describe the land to him. So if he's taking just 3 men, it's not like they were going into battle anymore, but this land was already theirs just for them to go ahead and dwell in it, possess it. It's kind of like, if you go on a job interview and, you go through the preparation for this particular interview, and they call you back a couple of days later and say, okay, you got the job, and then you never show up for work. So it's like, they have this blessing that's sitting right there in front of them, and they just don't make that move to get to walk into that. And what I'm thinking about it, that it's really that last battle that they have to fight is really with themselves of accepting change, and that's sometimes what we need to go through as well too, accepting a change, because the change is it's not the normal routine that we would go through, but we have to go through those changes even to move into blessing that the Lord has for us. It's stuff that's already there, stuff that's right there for us just to walk into, but we are hesitant because of it's a change from what our normal routine might be. So really, this is what I got from reading this particular chapter. Just that they were just there, they didn't go into their land, and he was really encouraging them to move forward and just go ahead and possess the land that was already right in front of them to possess. And like I said, it's kind of from yesterday's lesson too, where he was telling them, you can't just sit back, and what we were saying, you can't just sit back and say this particular area is too small, but you have to do something about it. But now in this scenario, in this chapter, the land is already there for them. They just have to make that last step of actually going in and dwelling in that land and taking control of that land. So that's what I want to share for today's Lessons for Life. With that, create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today, and we will talk again tomorrow.